Psychic swords. Psychic swords are far less common, but these are a very serious form of energy. They are formed with full conscious intent to pierce the person's energy body and cause them harm. They are created through the dark arts, and if it shows up in a reading, then you know the person has become the target of someone who is practicing dark magic, and they have become one of their targets. I don't know the process they have to go through to create these, but I know it's not easy and can be only done consciously. The attaching mechanism. The attaching mechanism seems to be your soul vibration. I have found that if your soul vibration is very high, then this type of magic can't penetrate our energy body. But that soul vibration is very high, and most people are not at that level of vibration. Once we reach a certain level of soul vibration, we will be invisible to all these energies, but we are nowhere close to that vibration just yet. But we are accelerating at a massive rate right now on this planet, so who knows when that will be. Our job is to go with the expansion so we can clean up our inner world so that we can reach that level of vibration where duality is no longer our reality. So when it comes to psychic swords, they're basically they're like a massive sword, and massive energetic sword. Now, when we're talking about psychic knives and psychic arrows, we're talking about something very small. Now we're talking about something that is extremely big, extremely powerful, and has had to be used in a very conscious and direct way to be able to form this thing. Now, like I said, I've got no idea how somebody consciously forms a psychic sword. I cannot tap into what is necessary and needed for that energy to form and to actually create such a large energetic signature. But they are very deadly, they are very powerful. It's not very common to come across, but I have come across them a few times, and they have created a lot of energetic damage for the person. So, you know, you may not ever find one of these, but it's very good to be aware of, because, you know, occasionally you just might have them show up. And when it comes to attaching mechanisms, it is definitely got to do with our vibration. Like most of this energy, you know, the attaching mechanism, sometimes there's certain things that we do that create the attaching mechanism, but most of the time it's our vibration. We are literally in a state of a massive awakening, as you know. And, you know, even when we think we can be conscious, and for say someone like myself, I've spent the last 10 years dedicating myself to energy work, and yet I am still not able to stop a lot of these energies from attaching. You know, if someone wanted to send me a psychic sword, they would be able to probably penetrate, because that's a high level of magic. The difference is I might not be able to stop the penetration, but I am pretty good at picking things up quite instantly and clearing them. So, you know, I'm not at a stage of being immune to this energy, but I'm pretty good at finding it and removing it, so that allows me to keep evolving and moving forward and expanding without too much toxins, like, you know, holding me back. So, you know, when we talk about attaching mechanisms, remembering that it's truly by cleaning this stuff up within our inner worlds that allows us to raise into a vibration where we no longer have any attaching mechanisms. The result in a person. These things are super powerful, and I've only come across them a small handful of times in the last 10 years, so they're not that common, and you may never find one. But if you do, the person will be coming to you because they're feeling something big impacting them. One of my clients who had 3 swords in his back also had 3 massive lumps on his back. They were big growths that the doctor had no idea what they were, and they were actually going to cut them out. He knew there was something going on energetically, because he was a very onto it man who was also very energetic. He could feel his body was not the same, and his thoughts were different, and he wanted to curl up in a hole and disappear. This man was a very strong, social and awesome human who turned into a shy, fragile and weak man within a month. Once I located them, this was in a hands-on healing. I worked very carefully to remove each one, and through the process my client could feel and see the person's face and hear the words spoken that sent him the swords. He was very blown away at the force and power these things had over him, because within 20 minutes he was starting to feel himself, and within a week was fully back in his power and flow. So that's just an example of how strong and powerful these things are. The person that I'm talking about was actually a close friend of mine who was an extremely out there man who had all sorts of amazing projects going on. Now, he happened to piss somebody off who did practice black magic, and this person kind of targeted him over a certain, project that they were involved in. And it was so quickly how this man just literally crumbled into a mess. And I'm really glad that he reached out, because he'd disappeared for a while, and I had thought about him, but I'm somebody who is very cautious not to try and save people. So I waited for him to contact me. He did a hands-on healing. Never had found these swords before. They were the first time that I'd energetically seen swords in someone's energy body. I'd removed them in the records once before, but this was my first time actually seeing and experiencing the hands-on, sort of side of it. And this is when I could not believe the power of these things. These were like samurai swords, those massive big swords, and they were so big and so powerful. I actually could not understand how they could even form energetically. The power of them was amazing. So once I removed them, to see the difference in him, and then within a week he was back to normal, it blew my mind that these things are able to take somebody down so quickly who was so powerful, so strong, and so in alignment. So it kind of made me see that it's really important to be able to locate these things. It's a really, really important skill to be able to pick these things up and to be able to clear them, because it can make a massive difference in someone's life. Lifespan. I'm not sure if these things can be past life, as I've never found any from a past life, but I have the feeling, due to the power and potency, that they may carry over from a past life, but I can't be sure. But if they are in someone's energy body, they will not hide, so you will definitely pick them up. But I think most of the time you'll find they're a present life issue, but I'm not going to say that you won't find them from a past life, because I do think they have the power and potency to carry over if they wanted to.